برنامجي هذا بلابنايا وعلمية وح إذن إيمان دونا جبر يلا بقبضات أو برنامج كشيء دونا.
Okay, hello everyone and welcome to the United Nations Model Fair and GIRLUP program. My name's Munira.
And my name's Fatima, and we'll be guiding you guys throughout your night tonight. Starting us off tonight will be Hanan and Isra talking about communication and trust.
Munira and Isra iyo Hanan caawa waxay ka hadlayaan communication-ka wax la yiraahdo xiriirka ka dhaxeeya waalidka iyo ilmaha. Marka qofkii raba inuu su'aal weydiisto, qofkii raba inuu fahmo, in badan baa isweydiin ilmaha maxaa ka khaldan. Caawa ilmihiina dhageysanaysiin ayagoo ka hadlayo community-geena Soomaalida inaga waalid ahaan waxa jira. Marka inagana aan dhageysano si inagu aan dhexdeena isugu caawino.
I'm Hanan.
I'm Isra.
So they say the key to all relationships is communication, especially in a parent-child relationship, which is an everyday relationship that impacts your life every day, good or bad. In the Somali community, the communication and trust between a child and a parent is lost. It's mostly because the child is too scared to tell their parents secrets, things, and the parent closes off by constantly telling their child that they're always right, they're perfect, and that they never make mistakes. Having communication with your parent always helps you in so many ways and creates a healthy environment.
Parents also hesitate in talking to their kids. They have this mentality where if their kids want to talk to them about something, they think that their kid would just come up to them and talk to them. But that's not always the case. A possible solution for this might be starting off as a kid, keeping the promises that you make to your kid. It could be something as simple to you as like going out to eat, but to them it might be a big deal. And communicating why you couldn't fulfill the promises that you made will positively impact your relationship for the long run. Having trust and communication between your parent and kid will motivate your child, and it will give them the encouragement of doing anything they can and just believing in themselves. Thank you.
Wow, everyone. I think we can all agree that that was a great start to our night. Anyways, next up we have
Layla and Ikram talking on mental health.
Just a few questions to begin. How many of you parents asked your child how they feel after a long day of school? Show of hands. How many of you guys make sure that your child is dealing with their stress in a healthy way? Show of hands. These simple things that you talk to your children about can completely alter their state of mind. Mental health is a wide range of mental conditions that are chemical imbalances in the brain. The most common ones we hear about are depression and anxiety, and some symptoms you may notice are lack of sleep or change in behavior or things like that. Mental health illnesses in the Somali community are underrepresented and disregarded. It is as if they're non-existent. Somali parents don't seem to believe in the idea of mental illness, or mental health issues are often treated differently than physical injuries. For example, if I break my arm or my stomach's not feeling well, I go to the doctor to make sure that I feel better. Why is it that if we're feeling not healthy mentally, it's a shame or it's embarrassing to seek help? We want to make sure that we can end this stigma in the Somali community because it's an important topic, but it's sadly and commonly overlooked. We don't take it seriously, and why do we always resort to a solution as prayer or you're not religious enough? We want to change this in the Somali community, and here's how we can try and raise awareness.
One solution for mental health issues is communication. People believe that you have to tough it out and that you shouldn't discuss your issues because it could ruin the reputation of the Somali community. It is believed that if you share your problems that you are considered a weaker link of the community. If the community learns that communication of emotions will make a positive outcome, then people will learn to understand and develop and understand each other. We will also need to help our brothers and sisters in seeking treatment. We should also turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because He can help with everything, but also seeking help like professional help from doctors and therapists can help make sure that our peers are mentally stable. And we could do this by making sure that the parents start with themselves, because in a household, if the parent doesn't even know how to prevent it from happening to the kids, they won't know where to start. And inshallah, with that, we can help raise awareness.
I also just wanted to add that when we're talking about mental illnesses, we're not talking about you're crazy or you have to be depressed. It can be simple things as just like making sure you're doing okay, making sure your child's doing okay. And when we're talking about in the Somali community, we're not always just talking about parents. We're talking about the people our age. We're talking about people 10 years older than us, 10 years younger than us. It's just not normal for some reason. And it's not just kids that go through this. Parents can go through this. So it goes both ways. And we don't want to make it seem like it's just on the parents, because it always goes both ways. And that's it. But do you guys have any questions for us?
Mashallah. Next up we have
Ilhan and Hafsa talking about how we can take the advantages we have here in America to help make a better Somalia.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Ilhan.
And my name is Hafsa.
And today we're here to talk about how we can take the advantages we have here in America to reclaim our homeland, Somalia. So we're all Somali, and most of us have parents who were born in Somalia. That being said, growing up with parents who didn't have the opportunities that we had, it's important that we take advantage of the opportunities that we get in America. Our parents have risked so much and have worked so hard for us to be able to live freely here in America. And I feel that as a community, we need to be able to take all the opportunities that we can. My peers and I are all obtaining an opportunity to participate in the United Nations, which is a great thing to do, mashallah. But we as Somalis need to be more represented in society. Sadly, when Somali people obtain opportunities or like see people in school, like for example, like if we see a Somali person participating in student council, we're like, oh, they're too adan, or that's not for me. But like, why do we have this mentality? We're basically like, when we do this, we're basically telling our parents that everything they risked for us coming to this country was all for nothing. Moral of the story, we as Somalis need to be the role models for our next generation so that they have people to look up to. Alhamdulillah, like our younger brothers and sisters have Ilhan Omar and Halima Aden to look up to, who have made remarkable things in our community. And by learning and making our mark in this country, we can be able to go back to our country and give back to our own people. We need to fix the problems that we have home. Like, why aren't we putting our girls in school in Somalia? It would be selfish of us to have all these opportunities and only use it for America, because at the end of the day, this country isn't our country. And one day, inshallah, we can all go back to our country and be the nurses, the doctors, psychologists, lawyers in our own country where we really need it.
So you guys are probably wondering what the solutions are. One of the many solutions is to seek and ask for help. Without asking for help, you will never find what you need to. So wherever you look, there's an opportunity worth taking. Even when you're in, of doubt that your parents are not going to support you or this, it's your job to take that step and move forward, because later you can explain to your parents why this is beneficial for you. So to take advantage of an opportunity is to make use for it for your personal gain and for future generations. If we don't take advantages of our own opportunities, who will? So many of us are first generation, and it's our job to personally go through all that is given so we can support future generations, like our siblings, our future kids, stuff like that. So with this in mind, we can take all the opportunities that are given and that weren't given to our parents and help rebuild our country. If we take all the knowledge that we have here and we go back to Somalia, Somalia will look way better than it is right now instead of what the media portrays it to be. So basically, the takeaway is to take opportunities, don't doubt your decision, and if you don't take initiative, who will? Thank you.
Anyways, next up we have Kifah and Nirmal talking about mentorship.
Hi everyone, my name is Kifah,
My name is Nimal.
and today we'll be talking about mentorship in our Somali community.
So you might be wondering, what is mentorship? How many of you guys have mentors in here, or mentees, or are mentees? MashaAllah, look at the youth, guys. Say takbir. Allahu Akbar, yeah. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. We have to be proud. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. This is an amazing group of people. So, starting off, so since you guys don't, a lot of you guys, at least the majority in this room, do not know what mentor is, or mentorship, or be a mentee, or what it means to be a mentee, I'm just going to tell you a quick definition. It means to guide someone. For a more knowledgeable person with more experience to guide a less knowledgeable and less experienced person. So, I'm going to say that in Somali. I'm not going to try. Never mind. Okay. waxa weeyaan qof mentor ah ama qof waa qof wacdiya, qof wax u sheega, qof ay daba socon karaan, waa leaderkooda, waa qof ama sheekh buu noqon karaa, ama macallin buu noqon karaa, ama it could be Habari Farah. Can you guys give a thank you to Habari Farah first of all? Yes, thank you Habari, thank you. But yeah, so waa qof ay daba socdaan, ay dhihi karaan qofkan noloshayda, they made a big impact. They are my leader, mashallah. But yeah, so Kifah is going to tell us a little bit more about mentorship. I'm actually curious.
Okay, no matter how young you are or how old you are, don't worry, you'll find somebody who wants to be there for you, who wants to help you succeed. The main 3 things you should look for when finding a mentee or mentor is he or she demonstrates a positive attitude and gives you positive feedback, values ongoing and learning and growth in and outside of school, and is there for you when you're struggling in school. If you're lucky enough to have a mentor, I suggest take advantage of that opportunity. It's better to start now while it's early and fresh than being a little too late. Before having somebody become your mentor, I suggest you take a little bit of time to get to know them, bond with them a little bit. Take this into curiosity. Would you rather have somebody that you barely know, help you with your struggles, or actually build a relationship with them and get to know them a little bit?
Right. So we all know how important relationships are, right? Like the one you have with your mother. We have spoken about communication, mental health. Going back to Somalia, which is a huge thing, inshallah, when we all become leaders. And just going off of topic, we are the leaders today, right? And going back to tying into the mentee, or we are here, we are all here. There's not many of us, but imagine how many Somali other youth are out there. Not just in Minnesota. I think in Minnesota, when I looked at the statistic this morning, it said about 85,700 people just in Minnesota. But when I looked at the CDC, it also said about more than 1 million people, non-refugees and refugees, outside of our country. So 1 million people, imagine. There's how many offspring? We are reproducing a lot. And just talking about my biology class and lessons, we are reproducing a lot. We are having so many children, mashallah, right? And so, look at this little girl, look at her. They're so beautiful. We have so many children in this room. So what if we all went back, right? Right? It sounds simple, but it's actually pretty complicated. And so the first stage that we suggested, as Kifah has spoken about, is that we need somebody. You need somebody like Habari Farah telling you about these programs. You need somebody okay, first of all, Kifah, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, so who's your mentee or mentee, yeah, or a mentor, somebody you look up to?
I have to say probably my parents, because I struggled a lot in school, but at the end of the day, they're always going to be there for me. They help me a lot in school. They give me advice about what classes I should take and stuff like that, so yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. So shout out to Kifah, yeah. Mashallah, mashallah. Okay, well, you guys, it's never too late to find someone in your community, outside of your community. We are looking to these Adam people as if they are foreigners. They're not foreigners. They're educated. They have degrees. Your teachers are resources. They're there for you. They're not there. They're getting paid. Do you think they care whether you take that knowledge outside of the class? They couldn't care less. Not to be rude to teachers, But teachers, care for you. They're there for you. They're a resource, At the end of the day, it's you who's going to go out into the real world. Whether that's Somalia or whether that's the U.S., let's be real, right?
Not only should you make your family proud, make yourself proud. You're the only person that's going to become first in your life, nobody else.
Right, guys. So leaving it off with that. So tonight, when you're driving home, when you're going home, just ask yourself these very, they might be rhetorical, but they're very deep questions. Ask yourself. Be who is my mentor? Who do I look up to? Even the Hoyos and the Abos in this room, and the Edos and the Habriyas, everyone. Think about somebody you look up to. Khafnola Shadi made a big impact. Or wali akafa kartid, when you sleep at night, you're oh mashallah. You don't think about it because life is busy, let's be real. But marka qof he said I want to be like them. I followed in their footsteps. But yeah, wallahi billah tala, what do you want to say? Last thing, anything?
That's it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, wallahi. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
Have a good
guys.
night.
waxay arkeen jeelasha waxaa u badan caruurteenna wiilasheenna percentage-ka aan ka nahay Minnesota iyo percentage-ka aan jeelasha kaga jirnaa isma leeka marka waxa waaye waxay dhaheen hadday heli lahaayeen mentor qof u wada ama program u siiya ama wax hela maanta way ka fiicnaan lahaayeen meeshii joogaan marka way mahadsan yihiin.
Speaking on something similar to mentorship, next up we have Salma T and Salma A talking about lack of women in STEM.
Our topic is the lack of women in STEM. STEM basically means science, technology, engineering, and math. So our question is, why are so few women in STEM? Well, boys have advantage in spectacles task, while girls have an advantage in verbal recall task. 74% of STEM workers are male, while the other 26% are female.
A female student is taking a math class she's taking a math class and experiences an extra cognitive and an emotional burden of worry related to the stereotype that women are not good in math. One thing we should do to help our community and stuff is to encourage other girls and our daughters to expose them to STEM fields early on. Thank you.
Wow, everyone, what an inspiration. Anyways, next up we have
Suwais and Ilhan speaking on father figures.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. My name is Ilhan Abdi, and today I'm going to be talking about an issue that occurs in the Somali community way too often. How many of you guys were raised with a single parent?
Just raise a hand.
Raise of hands. My parents got divorced when I was 3 years old, and I never really understood the concept of divorce until I was 7, and that's when my stepdad came into my life. As I was growing up, I did keep in contact with my father, and thankfully, I was fortunate enough to have a father figure in my life. But in some cases, in some Somali households, that's not the case. A father being absent in their life can harm the individual negatively, which affects their mind, their mental health, and their behavior. Why is it that when a father gets divorced, they automatically move on with their life and act like they don't have any parenting to do? Why is it that Somali communities don't work hard on the idea of co-parenting and put their personal issues aside? A study was found that father engagement reduces the frequency of behavioral problems in kids. We need to acknowledge this issue, and we need to understand how to move forward and avoid these problems.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Suwais. My parents got divorced when I was 4, so I didn't really, I didn't know much, okay? And some people have, the benefit of having, a stepfather. I never really had one. So, she had that father figure and I didn't, but it's also the same case because her parents got divorced at such a young age. And, it's, having a single parent is also a good thing, but a bad thing. The good thing is it makes you appreciate your parent more, because you see that they're struggling and doing it on their own. But at the same time, you have a good house, you're eating well, and, your parent, you guys are, together, And it's, there aren't many solutions to this because it depends on, the situation, There's some cases where there's no contact or there's some contact or the parent's always in the child's life. And I also feel like Somali moms shouldn't restrict parental rights from, the child, because at the end of the day, that's still their child and they have the right to see them, even if they're not a good parent towards them, you know what I'm saying? So just always, because if it was the other way around, you wouldn't want somebody restricting you from seeing your child, right? So why do that to somebody else? It might not seem like they love their child, but that's still their child. There's always a spot for them in their heart, And it's just kudos to all single mothers out there or fathers, because you guys are really out here doing it, you know? And special thanks to my mom. I'm wild, Mahoya. I love you.
Yeah, shout out thanks to all the single parents who's raised kids with financial issues but always made the kid feel like they're safe and rich, because honestly we all are, and we got to be thankful. So we thank Allah for gifting us our parent, and I thank Allah for gifting me with my mom.
Next up we have Sagal and Hamza talking about education and friendship.
A big problem in the Somali community right now is the lack of education and bad influences within our kids. Kids at the moment, they do not care about their grades. They do not care about their future. They just want to skip class. They just want to have fun. They want to do drugs. They want to party. They want to just fool around. They want to go out with their friends and basically do bad things.
I think the missing point to this is lack of parent involvement, and I'm not blaming it at all the parent. It goes both ways, but I think there should be more parent involvement. If there is no involvement, then the child will have the mentality thinking that, I can do whatever I want because my mom doesn't care what I do, and that's not okay. So I think parents should be more involved with their kids' school life, their social life, and just like their life in general, and like have that communication. Like it ties back to a different speech talking about communication and trust. And I think that you should be more open to your kids, like talk to them more so they can turn to you instead of turning to a friend, like, and have a parent as their friend, you know? Also, I think parents should know who their kids are hanging out with, who their kids are like, because Somali kids tend to follow the crowd, like they also tend to follow their friends, and that may not end up in a good place. So I think that you should know who your kids are hanging out with and make sure your kids are like hanging out with the good people, and also not be too controlling. So I think that there should be more parent involvement. Inshallah, we can change this in the Somali community.
I'm not saying this is for all Somali moms, but like most Somali moms, they don't get linked up with their teachers. They don't like talk with their teachers. Okay, so a couple years back, like when I was like not the best student, I used to block all my teachers' numbers. And like, okay, but like my mom never used to check that. She used to think that I was such a good student. I used to tell her, I have the best grades. Yeah, I could have easily edited that like online. It's not hard. So like, just make sure your kids aren't doing that. Make sure that you're talking with your teachers, and you can check online too. Like, you can check online. Just make sure that you know that.
Wow.
Parents need to link up with their teachers. They need to talk with them. They need to make sure that they have some form of communication with their teachers. They need to make sure their kids aren't skipping classes, because that's really easy to do now. The teachers are not like, they're not after you in high school. They're not like gonna go out of their way to find you. They're gonna let you skip. They're gonna let you fail. Like, it's not hard to do.
wuxuu idin dhahay ma maqlayseen ilmaha uu dhahay online-ka waxay ka erase garaynayaan daasoo kuu dhahay teacherska inay hooyada involve ku noqoto waay waxay kaa tusayaan bannaanka hadduu rabo waxa waaye way kaa baloo garaynaa wuxuu dhahay teacherska dhan waa ka baloo gareeyay balooga dhan waa ma soo galay so hadda waalidiintii waa inaa involve noqonaa hadda iyagiya hadda indhaha noo fureen ma garateen.
Next up we have Dekha and Sumaya talking about gender inequality.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Dekha. And I'm Sumaya. And our topic is on gender inequality and how it is portrayed in our community. Gender inequality is an issue not just nationally but globally. This issue is portrayed by the mistreatment of individuals, mainly women, and not valuing everyone as one. Gender inequality is happening today where women have less control over resources, less power over male, and fewer opportunities across social, economic, and political life. So we'll be talking about this through our poem, and our title is called Would Your Answer Be Different? Would you still expect me to put everything before myself?
Or would that factor just not count?
I'm expected to make sure my family is straight.
But I want to make sure they're straight, and I am too.
I'm expected to be so-called perfect.
If I'm emotional, am I too weak?
Am I supposed to feel that I'm not allowed to be independent, smart, or assertive?
But I also want to make sure my future is great, and I don't want to regret it.
How about we talk about double standards?
If I'm confident, am I too bossy?
If I'm seen as assertive, am I full of myself?
Is it worth it?
Could I ever attain this perfect image? If I was a girl, would your answer be any different?
Would I still have to carry the burden of masculinity?
How about expecting to hold in my emotions?
Not being able to cry?
Would I need to compete with other guys to show dominance?
Or is it pointless?
I need to be strong and upholding.
Just to show off superiority?
I need to hold in my emotions just not to be seen as weak.
Even having the perfect representation of myself?
Isn't always the best way to go.
Is it really worth it?
Is this all really about how I want to be viewed? Thank you.
Next up, we have Fatima and Nim'a speaking on
Judgment in the Somali community.
Well, as you guys already know, I'm Fatima, and this is
I'm Neema.
and I'm going to be addressing the problem of judgment in our Somali community, specifically women. So maybe show of hands, anybody feel like they've ever been judged by someone of the same culture as them? The judgment that we have in this community is not okay. The amount of hands that just went up in this room should be minimalized. There should not be that many hands. If you want to walk outside in the way you look or the way you're dressed, you should be comfortable in the way you are dressed, whatever way you want to look. You should not be judged for the way you're being yourself, especially by someone that is the same culture as you. We should be supporting one another, not judging each other and laughing at each other.
There's a lot of like judgment things like in our community as a Somali, cause like if a girl has a problem, then like the parents they'll be like, oh, have you seen that girl? Hablay gabadheedi ma aragtay? Surwaal bay banaanka ku socotaa. Gabadhaada waxaa laga yaabaa inay saas suubinayso. There's like our dean tell us that we should cover, but like if we wear like swell and qamar and stuff, like they're like, oh, na heblay gabadheedi ma aragteen banaanka saas bay ku socotaa. That's very, very quite wrong, and that's very disrespectful for you to say that markaad ogtahay gabadhaada inay saas suubiso. Waa ceeb waxaas. It's not good for us, cause like we're all the same. We're in a country where like there's so many things are happening. We're not back in Africa where like, oh, you can do anything you want, because like in Africa we wear hijab. That's true, because we're all the same. But in here, we're not the same. We don't have like as much Somali people around us. And for you to say something bad to a girl, especially when you have a daughter, that's very, very wrong.
As we're saying, you should be comfortable in the way you want to look. But the thing that has me confused is if you want to walk outside and go to the mall or something, minding your own business, and somebody wants to talk about you, shouldn't we be building each other up? By these people, these Adam people in this country, they want us to turn on each other, but are we listening to them? So shouldn't we stop this? Yes. Shouldn't we stop this? Yes. Thank you. Next up, we have Zakaria and Abdi Malik talking about
extracurricular activities.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zakaria, and my name is Abdi Malik. And today we're going to be talking about extracurricular activities. In the Somali community, I believe, and my partner here believes that extracurricular activities are stigmatized and like looked down upon, when there are so many benefits and like hidden values to them that we don't see as a community. And I'd like to start off with the stigma behind the clubs and like sports and student councils and stuff, is that they're a waste of time, or they're wastes of money, waste of transportation. I think this is like awful, because there's so many like benefits and stuff to like student like long life skills, getting fit, diabetes, blood sugar, like building yourself up. And then the Somali community thinks that the waste of time, or like they put it in relation with like having a high GPA, or like having like high test scores and stuff, having that being set as like their goal for their kids, when that's not all that it takes to get into college. Because there's some kids who can't get a 4.0 GPA, or can't pass tests, or aren't very intelligent. I mean, let's be honest, right? So like the things with like clubs and like all these groups and like extra volunteering hours and stuff is that it can put onto your your resume and stuff, like when you apply to colleges, you can put it on your essays. With this, like you can help boost yourselves into colleges, universities. And I'm gonna pass the mic to the medic.
First of all, I want to start off with saying, I want to ask the kids today, right? How many of you guys do an after-school activity, be it a club or a sport? Raise your hand. Like, I just see like at least 10 people only out of a room of almost 100 people. That's not what we are here for. All the عدان كانوا هذا بنات كانوا تاجن ودن كود جوجان. كل جول after school يكبوحن. Extracurricular activities, things like programs, after-school things, and clubs and sports are a vital part of any high school person's roster. It could be the difference from going to a 2-year and a 4-year university. Instead of Somalia, in a jidka yayin, in a sports dictan ofian, it can motivate them to give their life a chance.
Asha waxay ka hadlaysaa baska behaviorka ilmaheena ku dhex sameeyaan basaska.
They have to sit properly. They shouldn't eat on the bus because they can choke while the bus is moving. They have to respect people on the bus by not saying bad words. Don't throw garbage on the ground because it can take more longer for the bus driver to clean.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. My name is Mona Ahmed, and my topic is about friends and peer pressure. Peer pressure is a big thing around our age group. People are being forced to do or say things that they don't want to, like vaping or smoking, etc. Like some kids around our age are going to the bathroom, like with a group of people going into vape. And something to stop that is don't be forced to do or say something you don't want to say. And likewise for other people, don't force other people to do something they didn't want to do.
magacaygu waa Neema waxaan subin doonaa gabay ku saabsan hooyo. Hooyoy maxaad dibtootay, hooyoy maxaad dibtootay, sidee ayaad u heshay tabartaad u sameysay wixii aad ii wada qabatay, sidaad u noqotay macalmadeeda, kalkaalsadayda ilaa taliyahayga, maxaad hooyoy dibtootay, adoo qurux muuqdalaal leh, markaan ku dhex beermaday calooshaadu, muxuu wajigaagu hulmay, darbaan wajigaagu yeeshay, maxaad hooyoy dibtootay. muxuu dhabarku ku dhiyacay, culays la dhaqaaqi weysay, jirkaagu muxuu dhamaaday, maxaad dubnaatay awgeyga, markaad i dhalaysay muxuu hooyoy dhiig soo harwantay, maxaad hooyoy dibtootay, maxaad baahi iga dhowrtay, korinimo ii dhamaysay, si aan qeyrkayga u dhaafo, dhalaankina uga sareeyo, maxaad hooyoy dibtootay, maxaad hooyoy dibtootay.